Well, here we go. It's another episode of the Pantry Party Show with your host at DJ Blattner. Today we have a real treat. We have at Bonnie Taub Dix joining us. She loves to cook. She's got a well-stocked pantry. Can't wait to chat it up. Here we go. Pantry Party's about to begin now. Oh boy. Here we go, guys. It is Thursday. It is a pantry party. It is at Bonnie Taub Dix, who is going to be our guest today. I can't wait. I'm wearing my purple tassel earrings, matching purple top, blouse. I don't know whatever you want to call it. And here we go. Thanks for joining. Oh, I love to see everybody in here. Oh my gosh. Hi, guys. Let's get Bonnie in and give her a warm pantry party welcome with our disco ball. Hello, hello, hello. Oh my gosh. Pantry party, pantry party, pantry party. Let's see how many times I can turn this thing. I need to get an electric motor, right? I do need that. Hey, Bonnie, let's try. All right, here we go. Waiting for BTD. That's what I like to call her. I call myself, and others call me DJB.
Hey.
Oh, hey, what's up, girl? You knew that I was going to get you a good disco ball entrance.
I was hoping you would.
Okay, I'd like to talk shop, but before we do, I have to say, look at you. You look like $1 million, and I love the shirt. What is going on? Tell me more.
I just want you to know that I have not gotten out of pajamas in weeks. So today it made me realize how much time I spend putting on makeup and deciding what to wear. But it was actually a little nice to do that too.
Oh my gosh, well, you look like $1 million.
Oh yeah.
BTD, I was just explaining how we really are bonded mostly because we have the three initial things going for us. DJB, BTD, there we go. But can I be truthful here? You've done more with your initials than I have because BTD is actually quite a lot to you. That is the name of your blog, and your website is BTD, Better Than Dieting.
Yes. Because I never really believed in diets anyway. So I always thought that, it really just common sense was really what ruled. So I kind of thought that Better Than Dieting was what I've been promoting. So there you go with that. And then once I launched my other Instagram, which is about working with the media, I thought BTD meant like beyond the digital, because it's not just about social media these days. And anyone that I've counseled about working on TV, they see that once they get on TV, instead of just doing an Instagram post, that they get thousands of hits to their website because, listen, nothing like traditional TV, getting your name in a magazine. I think that it goes way beyond digital these days, even though digital is what seems to be what's hot. Right?
Well, you know what? I all of a sudden I love doing I'm mind blown. Who's talking about that? I don't feel like anybody else is talking about that. I didn't really realize that was a stance you had, is that it's like beyond the digital, because that's all people talk about. It's like, what have you done for me lately on social? And it's like, wait a second, what have you done for me lately in traditional media? Because that is still powerhouse USA.
It is. And the funny thing is that when people come to me for guidance, especially RDs, what happens is they say, oh, I have 100,000 followers on Instagram, but I was asked to do a TV show and I don't know where to look. I don't know what to say. What happens if someone asks me a scary question? I'm really nervous. What should I wear? And when I started doing TV, I know I hate to date myself, there was no internet. Okay, so all there was TV. So I used to get picked up by a car, do a TV show, get dropped off home. It actually seemed very glamorous, but that was the only show in town. So now things have changed, but that never went out of style.
I love it.
Going on TV,
Well, yeah, exactly. One of the things, though, that I think is so interesting is, when people are like, oh, I've done a TV interview, I've done several, whatever. I mean, we're talking, you are a Media Excellence Award winner because you have done this thousands of times. So and Janet Helm says she agrees. She agrees that TV is still the queen. And I think that is refreshing. I think that is a refreshing mindset. Even if we're all doing TV interviews from our kitchen using Skype or FaceTime with our.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. In fact, most of the TV, or maybe not most, but lots of the TV that I've done has been camera crews coming to my house and doing it in my kitchen. So how different is that, except that they had, really top-notch equipment. But nowadays, like I know I bought lighting and microphones and things like that. Not that I wind up using them all the time, because usually it's just my phone and me. But still, you don't have to have like a major studio in your house to film. And this is what's happening now. Like most of the time I have spent over the past 6 to 8 weeks has been doing interviews. And, even interviews that are not TV necessarily, but magazines, online. These are things that are what people want to see now. And everybody's reading things that they're reading so much more that it's up to us to really get those messages across. And also a lot of people are confused. Like even supermarket shopping. I mean, yes, I'm obsessed with supermarket shopping, even wrote a whole book about the subject, but I just think that it's still confusing. And now, even worse, people want to get in the store and get the heck out of there as quickly as possible. And it's even harder to make some choices.
Yeah, Karina is saying that it's refreshing to hear, because I think I just want to go back for a couple of beats of talking about this media stuff, okay? Because it's, you really have done all the traditional media thousands of times. You are playing strong in the social media arena, but people are now coming to you, and this is your new baby, your new @BTD Media is your new handle, because so many people were coming to you asking for help with what kind of light should I buy? Where do I look at the camera? What do I wear? How do I develop talking points? How do I develop relationships with producers? How do you do all the things that you and I know how to do? People were asking you how to do it. So you decided to start a whole new business training people on media.
Right.
How's that going? How are you enjoying
And and it doesn't even have to be the pressure of TV, because I think that what a lot of people want to do is they think that this is like a dream job. It doesn't have to be. I mean, it is dreamy to do it. Sometimes it's just a tremendous amount of pressure. Like whenever my husband hears that I have a TV show to do, it's like, oh no, I'm not seeing her for 3 days now and she's going to be like a maniac. Okay, it's true, but it's fun. But anyway, it doesn't have to be TV. If you are nervous about going on video, if you don't like to do that stuff, it's even just reaching out to your local newspaper and saying, hey, I could write a Q&A column for you. But it's making those steps. And I find that what's so interesting is most of the people that I'm counseling now lack confidence. And yet we have all the tools. We have all the tools we need in our toolbox to do it, but we're just not doing it. And for consumers that are out there, because I know that a lot of people in your audience are not necessarily looking to go on the news, they're listening to the news. You have to be aware of who's giving the messages, because there are so many people that are influencers out there that
I'll give you a disco ball for that.
Exactly. Thank you so much. It makes me feel like dancing. So these people they're kind of confusing credibility with popularity, because their popularity seems like they're credible when it really may not be the case. So many people are out there scaring people with a big, list with a big line in the middle, like always eat this, never eat that. It's such a bad idea. It's really important to just sort of like live in the middle here and try to be sensible. This.
Preach, girl. So for those of you just joining, we're at Bonnie Taub Dix. We were talking about her new venture, which is training people on media of all types: social media, videos, television, TV, radio, online, all of it. And that's at BTD Media. We have not talked about, we talked about your Better Than Dieting blog and website, but we have not talked about, we've alluded to it. Your sweet baby, your sweet little baby, your book, right?
Oh yeah. I happen to have a copy here.
Show us. Okay. So yeah, that looks good. Read it before you eat it. Now, here's the deal. Oh, hey, Rock Girl.
Exactly.
Read it before you eat it is in its second edition now, right?
Yes, because things changed. In fact, January 1st, labels changed. And it's supposed to be less confusing, but it still could be kind of confusing. So maybe we should like break down a few of those things. But actually, I never even wanted to write this book. I had a totally different book in mind. And then my agent said, it took me a year to do a book proposal on my other book that I wanted to write, which was about emotional eating. And then my agent called me and said, before we send out that proposal, would you like to write this book? And I said, absolutely not, because labels are so boring, so confusing. I don't want anything to do with that. And he said, okay, you know what, call me tomorrow, just think about it. But I tried to look up books that were written on how to read a label, how to go food shopping. And so many of my patients used to say to me, I wish I could take you food shopping with me, that I decided, hey, why don't I write a book that's like a dietitian going food shopping with you? So, but not like one of those, like, don't buy this, don't buy that. Like, just like, hey, listen, let's think about this. What do you look for when you look on the label? Because everybody's different. I might be looking for one thing. You may be interested in something else. So that's the book I wrote. So the first half of the book is all about how to figure out what's on the label. And the second half of the book is like literally an aisle by aisle tour of the store so that you know what to get, whether it's, you know, produce, dried, fresh, canned, frozen, whatever.
I think it's great because that's where nutrition starts, right? I mean, like when you think about it, you know, where does it all begin? It's like what is or what is not in your grocery cart can make or break you. So right. You're right that so many clients will ask and say, you know, well, what's your favorite brand of this? What's your favorite brand of that? How do I know about this bread or this pasta or whatever? Having a book that you can just like flick through and actually learn, I think is great. And I love when you tell the story, because I know it, right? That it was such a boring topic. You didn't even want to write the book on it.
I'm telling you.
So, you know, and so thinking about like, yes, this can be boring, but Bonnie Taub Dix tackles it and makes it not boring, right? It makes it actually something that you need. I really appreciate it. And it sort of segues into what else I know about you. So I know that you enjoy cooking, other than painting and all things that I know about you. And things that, you know, maybe I could blackmail you on at some point.
But they're probably fun stories.
Fun stories. Other than all that, here's what I know. I've always known, pre-quarantine, I've always known Bonnie Taub Dix to like cooking, enjoy cooking, and to always have a well-stocked pantry. So this is the Pantry Party Show. So would you like to tell us how the quarantine and how safe at home has sort of changed how you've been cooking and how you've been stocking up? Because you've always been good at it. So what's changed?
Yeah. So first of all, when I heard about the quarantine, I thought, you know, one of the first days I went to the store and I said, all right, what could I stock up on? And honestly, I didn't have to get that much because I know what my life is like in general. I love food shopping. I mean, yes, I love the music that they play in the supermarket. Yes, I have been known to hum a few tunes while I'm there.
Okay, time out. Has anyone ever publicly admitted that they enjoy grocery store music?
I love it. Sometimes it's like disco and, you know, you really feel like moving around like this. You know,
you got hearts for that one. There is another lover of grocery store music. I appreciate you leaning into that controversial music choice, but okay.
Okay. Well, Listen, you never know what they're going to be playing. And in foreign countries, by the way, they play like this French music in France. It's really wonderful if you pay attention to it, but it's kind of in the background, but I do listen. Anyway, so I didn't have to buy that much because I love having a well-stocked pantry. And I think as a mom of three, you know, I have three boys. They're all grown. I have a grandson. I have a granddaughter, first girl in the family, due in 3 weeks. So I have always cooked a lot for my kids. And having three boys, one of them is 6'4", like they eat. So I always had to have food around. They knew that they could always come downstairs and look in here or look in the fridge and freezer and find what they were looking for, somewhat what they were looking for. And I always, in terms of like a tip on food shopping, I made a grocery food list that was the layout of my store. So it was typed in all the produce, then the next aisle, then the next aisle, and I would type it out, or it was typed out, I would print it out, put it on my countertop, and if anybody wanted anything or they used something and we ran out, they would just have to circle it. And then there was a section for like add-ins, you know, like chocolate donuts or something like that.
Okay, wait. So let me ask you this. So you're saying you basically, you had a template, basically,
yes,
that was typed out of all the foods that could exist in your home. Yes. And then all you would do is print that out every week and X off or circle what it is you needed from your core list.
Yes. And
Nice.
It was in the order of the store. Where it
Carrie
appeared in
Gans
the store.
is laughing. She's got tears going down her
I know. Her list would be like olives, vodka, done. So not only was it a list, but it was a list of the order of the store.
Right.
So when you read the list, you never had to backtrack. So food shopping could take 20 minutes because I could just throw everything on my cart, get it, and be done with it. It's really a good idea if you want to try it.
Okay, what I like about it, so at first my initial instinct was like, whoa, this seems like a time suck. This seems crazy. Like, it's way too organized for me. I'm freaking out. But then when you really think about it, it's time up front, but then it saves you time over time. That in fact, it is the hugest time saver of them all.
Yeah. You only have to do it once, so food shopping could become a breeze.
The rock girl really loves that idea. She gave you heart emojis and hearts. Yeah.
Who did?
The rock girl. Not Carrie Gans.
Thank you, the rock girl.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. So you only have to do it once because, listen, let's face it. These days, food shopping is not on most people's to-do list with a heart around it, except mine. So everybody just wants to get done with it quickly, and that's it. But I'm not even just talking about these days, like past few weeks. I'm talking about in general. Most people don't have time to go food shopping because they don't want to make their lives all about food shopping. So it's just a quick and easy way to do it. So so I always try to keep my pantry stocked because I like knowing that I have this stuff. Like you want me to show you some of these things?
Girl, we want to get in your pantry.
Woo! Okay. So for some examples. So here, I'm going to move my phone so I can show you. Okay, so.
Hey, Nadine.
Like, here's where I have, like pasta, different kinds of pasta, quinoa, syrups for my pancakes, because I love to make pancakes for my family, nut butters, vinegars, some more pasta. I love these, I know you like the chickpea pasta, lentil pasta, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I love those things. Over here, I love to bake, and I have a funny story to tell you. So when this whole quarantine thing first came about, so I've been working from home for like 30 something years. So it was really easy for me to work from home. I could not do any work. Like I just would sit there and say, maybe I'll get a cup of tea. Maybe I'll do this. So I said, you know what, I'm just going to create a new recipe because I thought that that'll keep me busy. So I made this whole new zucchini bread recipe, made it, took it out of the oven. Everybody came into the kitchen. This is delicious, delicious. And then like about 2 hours later, I went to my fridge and I opened up the vegetable bin. I never put the zucchini in.
I love that. I knew that was going to be part of this story. I was like, if I know anything, this is going to be a good one. Urban Bourbonist gave you a BTD exclamation. So I think that's good. How fun is that?
Yeah. So my mind, has not been totally in the right place, but I had good intentions.
No, but it's true though. And people I've been seeing that around is like working from home is not the same thing as trying to work from home during a quarantine. So we are trying to work from home right now during a global crisis. It is not the same thing as working from home in no situation. Yes.
And I never answered your question, so let me get back to what you said. Like, in terms of what has changed for me.
Thanks for keeping us on track.
Yeah, that's okay. It's like it's so typical of me. Like, under my name should be the word tangent instead of dietitian.
And Urban Bourbonist says, "Say hi to Mitch's hair for me."
That's a long story. We can tell you another time. By the way, Mitch and I have been practicing our, well, actually, we need to practice. We haven't practiced yet, but we're doing a presentation together. And just so your listeners know, I am giving a presentation in a few weeks on writing contracts. And it's the first time that I'm giving a presentation with my husband. We're married for 36 years. We've never done this before. So either, and it's on contract. So either this will work out really well or which contract, marriage contract could be a problem.
Oh God, BTD. Well, I will say it is great that you are donating the time of your lawyer husband to help people with contracts and reading contracts.
Oh yeah.
The Rock Girl says, I know there's no judgment on the Pantry Party show, but girl, your pantry is so organized.
And I do like it. Just don't think that this is a reflection of my whole life. This is like my pantry's organized. At least it's something. But again, back to that question, what's changed so much for me is that when I make a dish, I have to put in a ton of stuff. Like, if I'm making a salad, it needs to be arugula, spinach, almonds, tomatoes, fresh beets. Now, like when my son came home, because one of my sons is staying with us, he's like, Mom, what are you kidding me? Like, don't put all that stuff in the salad. We have to conserve. So I am now trying to get into more of a conservation mind, and it's not that easy for me. I'm really having a hard time with it. So I'm trying to use less ingredients in one dish so that I can have those ingredients for something else.
Okay, and you're talking more, because your pantry behind us has plenty of ingredients to go on and on and on. But you're talking more about like those fresh things you have in your fridge or even your freezer where you're thinking, okay, well, do I really need to have 3 different kinds of leafy greens in this meal?
Right. And how can I make these things last?
I love that.
So, and also trying new things, like, like for example, this is the baking section.
Yeah.
So I have like
BTD, do you have a grocery cart yet for your, because as everybody's watching, I know what you're thinking because I'm thinking it too. It's like, that looks like a mini mart, a mini supermarket. You need a grocery cart.
I have a little one. My grandson comes over and he always says, "Can we go to the supermarket?" So he comes down here and he takes things off the shelves like, "Can we buy this today? Can we buy this today? Can we make this?" So he thinks that this is like a little supermarket.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
As somebody on the opposite end of the spectrum, right? So I did not raise 3 growing boys that had huge appetites and get into this idea of stocking up. And in fact, having a lot of food around makes me very anxious because I feel nervous about like, how am I going to use this? So when you are thinking about what you're going to make for you and your family, right? Where do you begin when you have so much stuff in your pantry? Like, what is it? Are you thinking about like what fresh produce is going to go bad? Or like you just think about what you want to eat? Or like, what's the beginning step of the BTD process?
I think I try to think about really what I'm in the mood for, because we know that taste rules. Lots of times I get requests from family like, "Hey, could we have bolognese tonight?" Like that kind of thing. Okay. And then I try to think about what goes with what, like kind of what pairs well together.
Is Carrie Gann still on the call?
So kind of like textures, colors. I like when things look pretty. I definitely.
We had a guest on the show at Carrie Gann's who she's still here. Oh God. Anyway, but you're an artist. True, whether or not you go around and advertise it, one thing I do know about you is that you do magnificent art. And so food, you really have used as sort of a creative outlet, I think, for art as well. Like you make it look so pretty.
Well, when I was when I went to college orientation, I was majoring in psychology, minoring in art. And then someone who was in front of the room said, "Is anyone interested in dietetics?" And I had been on a diet then and lost a lot of weight. So I said, "Oh yeah, I'm interested in dietetics." And I signed a paper, got accepted for an interview at Downstate Medical School, and I transferred schools, changed my major, and that's how I became a dietitian. But psychology is what I use most of the time on my patients, and art is through food photography and cooking. So I kind of wanted to keep what I really wanted to do to begin with. So I try to think about how foods go together, color-wise. And then what you were asking about with what I use first is I try to use the most perishable things first. But if like my fresh spinach is starting to look a little bit like, hey, I'm just about done here, yes, then I'll cut it up and put it into a cooked dish instead of serving it fresh in a salad.
I think that's very smart. We kind of do that a lot on pantry parties, like re-emphasizing, know your inventory of fresh food, right? That's the first step, is like know your inventory. And then see what you have that you really need to use quickly. And then your point is exactly what I say. And then really think about, what do you want to eat? Like not just like, oh my gosh, I got to go shove this spinach on a plate and eat it. Like, what do you want to eat? I think that's beautiful. If you had to give somebody, other than the assignment, I think, of organizing a grocery list according to how your store is laid out to save time and make it more like a checklist rather than making a brand new list all the time. I think that's a great homework assignment. Is there any other things like in terms of meal inspiration that you'd really like to give us today as sort of like a, pantry party assignment or an inspiration point? Otherwise, I'm going to make you tell us more about pancakes because you were like, I love making pancakes. I didn't know that about you. So anyway,
Oh yeah.
either an inspiration point that you would like to share with us, or I'm going to force you into a pancake discussion.
Well, I think first of all, a lot of people are listening in who may have their kids home. And, I know that in my private practice and seeing patients, I know that a lot of young kids that I see express, yeah, I don't really cook because my mom doesn't want me in the kitchen. Yet I think it's a missed opportunity, because I think that teaching your kids how to cook, or teaching your significant other or whoever might be home with you at any time, teaching them to cook is really not like a cooking lesson. It's a life lesson. And I see
Oh,
this.
come on. I mean, that's a soundbite. You talk about media, like that's
It's
perfect.
true.
That's
But
so
it's so
good.
true. It's so true. I'll give you a perfect example. So when my grandson comes over here, he is obsessed with spices. Like, I am not kidding, obsessed. So if I show him, something like this, I'll show him this and I'll say, what is this? And he looks, he says, oregano. Now he's 3. He could tell me every spice that I had, including this. He looks at this, he says, oh, that's sliced garlic. Yet if I have roasted garlic or minced garlic, he knows them all. Because we take them.
This is what I would like you to make sure that you do, is when he is, trying to figure out what he wants to do with his life, like remembering that he naturally had this predisposition to enjoy spices, because maybe he'll be like a world-class urban spice tier.
You never know. You never know. And what we do is we put them on a plate, and he tastes them all. And he always has to have his water bottle there, because sometimes he tastes like hot Moroccan spices, and he has his water. But then he takes the plate, and when we eat, he has the plate of spices next to his dish, and he dips his food in there to have different flavors. I mean, it's crazy. I don't do that.
What 3-year-old do you know does that? Nobody. None. I love that. Well, I mean, is this a lesson you're giving the pantry parties that you suggest that we go in?
Yes. In fact, here's what you should do. You could take your salt shaker and dump it out, and in your salt shaker, or different salt shakers, like I also like to collect little bottles and stuff. I think I'm a collector. You could put different seasonings.
You know what they also call that? They call that hoarding in some circles.
No, it's not hoarding. I'm going to tell you why. If I just created this during the quarantine, I'd be a hoarder. But this is like what I do all the time, so I'm a collector. How about that?
Okay, fine.
Can I get away with that?
Touche. We got hearts for that. People are
just saying. Anybody give me a thumbs up, please, so she doesn't think I'm a hoarder.
Dietitian April Sins is giving you a thumbs up. So
Thank you. Thank you. Don't think I don't appreciate that. I do. Wait,
okay, so I said, give us an assignment. What is your pantry party episode going to be called?
So back
you
to
said, dump out the salt.
Yeah, so you could take different seasonings and spices and make your own blends and use those on your food to really jazz up some dishes that may be like ho-hum dishes.
We had Michelle Dudash on yesterday, and her episode was called Herbs and Spices, because she started a whole business about herbs and spices. It was very interesting.
And I think that there's a lot there. Like, for example, you could take where is it? Okay, so here. You could take a can of salmon, for example. Okay, this. And okay, it's just a can of salmon. Like, salmon by itself, it's good. I mean, I love it, but you could add chopped anything that's in your vegetable bin that you think is sort of on the way out. Add that, add some panko breadcrumbs, and add some egg, and whatever seasoning you like. You could add some chopped almonds. You could even add cranberries. You could make it sweet. You can make it savory. You could make these things. And I took a picture of these burgers that I made the other day, salmon burgers. They were awesome, really. But I'm talking about like my family's review, not just my own.
Right.
But you could take a ho-hum recipe and really jazz it up by just adding some ingredients that you never thought of adding before.
Okay, so Michelle Dudash just entered. Michelle Dudash, hope your ears were ringing, because we just talked about you, girl, about your Dash Dinners seasonings. Bonnie Top Dix has just named her own episode right now. It's called the Anything Goes Salmon Burger. Literally, if you take everybody has this can of salmon or even tuna right now. Okay, so like they bought it and it's like still staring at them. And when I say they, I mean me. I bought it. It's staring at me. I'm like, what are we going to do together, kid? And then it's like, nothing. So I like this idea of sort of this forgiving burger where, I mean, in a million years, I would never have thought to put things like cranberries or almonds in a salmon burger. Like, what? This is anything goes.
Anything goes. And you could take that, and if you don't want it with salmon, you could do it with turkey. You could do it in a mini meatloaf, in a mini pan, a mini muffin tin, and put it in there with turkey. Add whatever you want in there, nuts. You could add.
Do you use an egg or binder or anything?
Yeah. I usually use egg. So
Okay.
I usually use some sort of panko breadcrumbs.
Okay.
Eggs, which are not in this room, in a different room.
Okay.
And any kind of seasoning and spices. And then add whatever you want. Nuts, cranberries, raisins. It doesn't matter. You can make it sweet or savory. But you can do it with ground turkey. You can even do it with mashed chickpeas or beans. You can make a bean burger that way and have it be plant protein instead of having any kind of meat. You could do it with tofu. But I think that these burgers are really easy to make. Most people like them. You could do like sweet potato fries with it, and there you go.
I love it. I'm not sure if you caught my bean balls. I had a post a week or two ago about bean balls, and it was a really popular post. And so I'm just saying, if you want to check
I think
that
I
out
did.
yourself.
I think I responded to that.
And
I'm almost
Dudash,
done.
Michelle Dudash is, first of all, she's trying to spoon feed us the same spices that she spoon fed us yesterday. Dill and smoked paprika. Dudash.
I love
I put that all up on my YouTube page because your ideas were fabulous. She also loves your hair, so I do too. You know what? And we gotta be careful not giving her too many compliments. So it goes.
Wait, I just want you to know that I am thinking of opening a beauty salon. So far, I have given my husband a haircut. He said he may never go to the barber again. I gave my grandson a haircut. He was very good because he got a lollipop afterwards. I gave my son a haircut. He is still not letting me live it down because I think I got a little too creative.
That's excellent. We got, hey, what is this? Lou, I don't know what it's Lou and then the 29 at the end. I don't know the whole thing, but listen to this combination. Apple and chilies. Doesn't that sound good?
That sounds very good.
That sounds good. Oh, and the rock girl said she likes bean balls. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, so this episode is the Anything Goes burger. It doesn't even have to be a salmon burger. It's the Anything Goes burger. Any kind of meat, poultry, beans, anything that you want to put in there. It could be nuts, which I've never even thought of that.
You can put anything.
Dried fruit, whatever. Seasonings, and if you listen to Dudash, it's always going to be dill and smoked paprika. If you're listening to this new, I like the idea of apples and chilies together. I think that sounds delicious.
Yeah.
But really, anything goes.
I think that the important thing about making it like a little bit different also is the addition of fruit. Like I like to add fruit to most of my savory dishes because it just kind of makes it feel like, wow, like a little pop of something, like dried cranberries or figs in broccoli rabe. Like that is such an interesting combination because all of a sudden bitter, whoa, that's sweet. And you know, I like that combination.
This is why Bonnie Tom Dix wins Media Excellence Awards, because this is the kind of interview she does. She goes, bitter, sweet, whoa, bitter, whoa, bitter, whoa. I mean, girl, that is something. And put Carolyn's pickles on it. Oh, yeah, Michelle Dudash is saying, now we've got the Anything Goes burgers. And a few episodes back, we had the cheater pickles, where you just cut up cucumbers and stick them in the pickle juice. There's been all sorts of ideas. Hey, BTD, I love this Anything Goes burger idea with this sort of emphasis on don't forget to add fruit to things, not just these burgers, but even like your veggie dishes for a bitter wow effect.
Yeah, for sure. In fact, one of my sons didn't want to eat any salad. And, you know, for me, not to have someone eat salad is like, oh, kill me now. So, exactly. But he did like mandarin oranges. So when everybody ate salad, I gave him a bowl of mandarin oranges. And then one day I put the mandarin oranges with a few tomatoes and he ate them. And then I added a little bit of greens underneath. And before you know it, he had salad. So
look at that.
Sometimes you have to start with fruit to get your kids to eat veggies.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to give you. Hashtag changing lives. Hashtag changing lives. Bonnie, thank you for real with the idea of the anything goes burger and holding them together with like eggs and a little panko, but get creative. I think this is a fantastic assignment for us. In addition, bonus of the episode, if you didn't see the beginning, go back, listen to BTD, Bonnie Top Dix, talk about how to create the world's best grocery list to save you time,
money,
and
money.
make you look like a queen. Like, I mean, seriously, I think that's so good. So listen up. If somebody wants to get media training by you, if somebody wants to buy your book, read it before, what is it? Oh, God.
Read it before you eat it.
Yeah,
taking you from label to table. The second edition.
It rhymes, and I get the subtitle and the title mixed up all the time because they both rhyme in a perfect way. Read it before you eat it. I love
you
the
from
book.
label
It really
to table.
is great.
You know, when I had to pick a title for my book, I sent in like 50 titles to the publisher, and she was like, "No, we hate all of them." So I was in the car one day with one of my sons on his way to his saxophone lesson. He was like 9 years old. And I said, "You're a smart kid. Like, can't you come up with the title for my book?" He said, "I don't know. What about like read it before you eat it?" It's like, "Oh, maybe." I called the publisher. She's like, "Finally, you came up with something good." But I wanted the name of the book to be Taking You from Label to Table. So when I did the second edition, I figured it's my book now. I could do whatever I want. So I made that the subtitle.
It's great. I love them. I do love them both. But read it before you eat it. BTD Media is where people, well, why don't you say, where can people get everything Bonnie Top Dix?
Okay, so if you want everything Bonnie Top Dix, yes, you could go to my website, which is betterthandieting.com. And there you'll see a lot of things there, including a blog, including all my recipes. But you'll see 3 different boxes on there. One of them is for consumers. So for anybody like health seekers, anybody who wants anything related to like what the heck is going on out there. I need some sanity when it comes to food. You can go there. If brands who are interested in hearing my messages or working with me, there's a box for them. And then there's something specifically for people who want media training, who want to know how to get their name in the news, but also how to boost their business. And that's there. And on Instagram, at Bonnie Top Dix is kind of like a collection of everything because I'm all over the place, as I said. And at BTD Media on Instagram is really if you want tips on how to get your name in the news and get your business going.
I love it. Everybody's giving you lots of hearts. Bonnie, at Bonnie Top Dix, thank you for joining the Pantry Party Show today and your brilliant ideas and all the magic that you are and your gorgeous hair. Love
Thank you. I'm going to
so
give myself a haircut next.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. True.
I just wanted to do the show first, just in case.
Good idea. Love you, babe. Thank you.
Thank you, Dawn. Bye.
That was another successful episode of the Pantry Party Show with at Bonnie Top Dix. She gave us great ideas, but the real take-home message is the anything goes burger, whether you're using salmon or tuna or turkey. She holds it together with panko and eggs, and she puts all sorts of things in there like nuts, and especially she had us leaning into fruits, herbs, and spices. So the anything goes burger, that's what this episode is today, but she also gave us great advice about making a grocery list. And she's got a well-stocked pantry, so that girl knows how to make a list. Let's just say that. Thank you so much for joining the Pantry Party Show. And I got to tell you, if you are around tomorrow, if you know anyone around tomorrow, noon Central Time, this show tomorrow is going to be crazy. We've got a guest that I cannot wait to announce. Oh my gosh. It's a Pantry Party first. And it's happening tomorrow. So make sure you tune in, tell your friends, share the post. OMG, I cannot wait. All right, so until tomorrow, the Pantry Party Show is sending you big love, high immunity vibes, and lots of kisses. Thanks for joining, guys.